Welcome to Shepherd's Digest. This is the Daily Edition. I'm Pastor Terry from River City Hope Church in Louisville, Kentucky. And in this series, based on the full message, The Road to Discipleship, we've been talking about the process that Jesus used to choose his original disciples. He was strategic. In part one, we learned that Jesus always went to God before making major decisions, praying to the Father and waiting for an answer. The second part of his plan was to spend time influencing the ones he chose to duplicate and perpetuate his message through. Which raises the question, have you been influenced by Jesus recently? Have you been with Jesus this week? Have you listened to him from the Word? Have you talked with him and heard from him through prayer? You know, Jesus chose us, his followers, to be an influence on us. And his plan is to change our lives and the lives of those we encounter, not just for today, but for eternity. The third part of his plan was to choose people based on their willingness to follow him. Jesus chose ordinary people to do an extraordinary job. The Bible specifically mentions only 5 of the 12 disciples' professions, with a majority of them being fishermen and a tax collector. I think it's very significant that Christianity began with a diverse group of people. They were called to live together, they were called to share together, and grow in love together. The plan was that these 12 men would live with each other and for each other. And the secret to them being able to cope, to put up with, and even love one another was largely due to the fact they were all doing life together with Jesus. You know, in this way, everybody was pretty much on the same page together in the process of learning. Think about this. 100 pianos, all tuned to the same tuning fork, are automatically tuned to each other. But those same 100 pianos all playing different songs is not a pleasing sound. To put it musically, we should not only be in tune with one another, but playing the same tune. Now, the men Jesus chose had no special qualifications at all. In fact, they weren't wealthy, they had no special social position, they had no special education, they weren't trained theologians, they weren't high-ranking churchmen. They were just 12 ordinary men who followed Jesus when he called them. He called and they obeyed. Remember, all of us who have been chosen, called, and responded, we have a calling in our life. God is calling us into a right relationship with him, first and foremost. He's also calling us to be his witnesses here on earth. He's calling us to be proclaimers of the gospel, ambassadors, ministers of reconciliation, and God is calling us to be godly men and women. And he has called us to teach others what he is teaching us, and for them to duplicate that process in others, who will then duplicate that same process in others, and in others, and in others. And this, my friend, is a simple definition of discipleship. Thanks for joining me for this last installment in this series from the message, The Road to Discipleship. And if you haven't already, you can watch the full message on our church website, hope4rivercity.com. That's hope, the number 4, rivercity.com. And on the videos page at shepherdsdigest.com. And while you're there, you can subscribe to the audio podcast of Shepherd's Digest, and you can check out some of the other titles as well, such as Do You Know the Shepherd? I'm Pastor Terry Wright from River City Hope Church in Louisville, Kentucky. And if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can email me, pastor@shepherdsdigest.com. That's all for now. God bless you. See you soon.